Kundalini exerts a very motherly influence on an individual who is experiencing a Kundalini awakening, folks. The motherly Kundalini energy brings us to Christ consciousness. It brings us to the Christ energy. And the Christ energy, ladies and gentlemen, which is the awakened Kundalini, tethers our consciousness to God. So you can see here a triad of sorts. The motherly Kundalini awakens our chakras. It awakens at the pelvic floor of our physiology. It's something known as our coccyx, which is basically the throne of God, symbolically speaking of sorts. Excuse me. I got a lot of sun today, so my mind's a little mushy, but the feminine Kundalini energy, it's a very motherly force, awakens at the pelvic floor, and it rises, and as it rises up our cerebral spinal system, or through a spiritual channel known as the Sushumna, it opens, awakens, and enlivens, and nourishes, tonifies, balances, and brings harmony to all of our dormant chakras, or malnourished chakras. And as our chakras are re-enlivened and reawakened, ladies and gentlemen, it enhances our consciousness 10 million-fold. It awakens all the psychic centers of our mind that are dormant, and it awakens the regions of the brain that are currently not being used. We don't use more than 10% of our brain currently because our chakras are not awakened, ladies and gentlemen. They're not actually working. They're not working properly. Chakras essentially means wheel of light. And when these chakras are awakened through the Kundalini rising, it causes these wheels of light to start spinning and working with one another. And when this happens, your consciousness drastically changes, because your chakras, ladies and gentlemen, are basically your connection to the source. It's your connection to the energetic systems of the earth as well. It's your connection to God. So the Kundalini, this motherly force, awakens, and it brings you back to life. And when the Kundalini energy gets inside of the brain after it's risen all the way from the pelvic floor, it unifies the divided, fragmented aspects of your physiology by connecting your right and left lobes of your brain. The schism is gapped, or it's bridged, excuse me. Got a lot of wind out here, folks. And when this happens, you experience something known as Christ consciousness. So the mother brings you to the Christ, and the Christ brings you to the Father. This, in my opinion, is the Holy Trinity. And when this happens, you become the child between the mother and the father. Kundalini is very real, ladies and gentlemen. It will allow us to quantum leap into new evolutionary states of consciousness and physiology. Not only, people think that Kundalini only causes the consciousness to evolve, it's also the body. The chakras are contained within the cerebral spinal system. When the chakras are awakened, enlivened, tonified, and when they are brought back to life, like a flower that's in dire need of water, that's what the Kundalini basically does to your chakras. It feeds them, it nourishes them, it uplifts them. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. This energy, what I'm getting at, can allow us to quantum leap into new states of consciousness, and it can allow our body to finally evolve. They are currently doing everything in their power to suppress the evolution of this energy from moving through our systems. They've created a world where by default, if you engage in the evils of this world, if you engage in many of the things that this system has laid out for you, it causes a kind of hijacking of the spiritual energy of the Kundalini, and it keeps it from not rising, folks. I hope that makes sense. But the Kundalini not only causes the consciousness to evolve, but it causes the physiology to evolve. This body has very many mysteries to it, ladies and gentlemen. We're only using a small, tiny fragment of our potential. A great book to check out if you're interested in learning about the occult secrets of the human body and how the entire body is basically a living church. And every organ is a different system that unifies this church. Our organs all work together to sing a tune of harmony. Hope that makes sense. Each one of our organs is basically a church unto itself, ladies and gentlemen. The body is very mysterious. We still don't know very much about this system. We may understand the basic plumbing of it, but we don't even understand what created us, how we got here, what our purpose is, you name it. There are so many unanswered questions to life, and Kundalini answers those questions. It is your mother, ladies and gentlemen, and your mother, the Kundalini, brings you to the Christ consciousness energy, which is basically what you become. You become Christed when this energy causes your chakras to awaken and your meridians to awaken, and when that energy finally finds its home again in the king and queen's chamber, the pituitary and the pineal and the entire brain system, you become enlightened like Christ. This is known as Christ consciousness. Just like Jesus said, you shall perform miracles greater than me. He was implying that we had the potential, we had the ability to become just like Christ. And we do. Christ was an individual who walked the earth, who had his Kundalini awakened, who was gifted and blessed by the mother. And through the awakening of this energy, when you achieve Christ consciousness, you know the Father, you know God. I hope that makes sense. The things that we could potentially do if we could reawaken this energy are limitless. There is an infinite amount of possibilities here, ladies and gentlemen, but they've got us living in these boxes. They've got us living saturated with electromagnetic pollution. They've got us living under the artificial light constantly. People think that the sun causes skin cancer. The sun, the bringer of all life. What causes this grass to be green? What causes these beautiful trees to grow, folks? What causes the unfoldment of all life on earth gives you skin cancer. Now, obviously, I don't think it's great that you go out and just bake yourself for 12 hours a day. Of course, there's going to be issues with that. The closer you get to a flame, the more you can feel it, so to speak. The more risk you run when you get closer to something like that. So if you spend 12 hours a day out in the sun, of course you're going to burn. But here's the thing. And the sun is very essential for this unraveling of the Kundalini. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But the sun, most people who get skin cancer spend the majority of their time under light, not under sunlight. It's under the artificial light and exposed from the computer screens, the light that they're exposed to, the fluorescent lights at work. 99% of the light that you're exposed to is artificial. But you want to say that the little amounts of sunlight that you're exposed to is what's giving you skin cancer? Ladies and gentlemen, the sun brings all life. It causes all life to unfold here on Earth. The artificial light that you spend most of your time in or under causes serious health consequences. It's been proven time and time again. It takes your circadian rhythm out of whack. It causes melatonin to not produce properly, which is much more than a regulatory hormone responsible for your circadian rhythm. It's also an antioxidant. But you get skin cancer from the sun. No, maybe the skin cancer is from all the artificial light. And again, you spend 1/3 of your life indoors, sleeping. You spend another third of your life indoors, and then on top of that, you spend a large percentage of your free time inside, under lighting, under watching the television, surrounding yourself with toxic light from these devices. You spend the majority of your life inside, surrounded by artificial light, surrounded by electromagnetic pollution. But the sun causes skin cancer? No, the sun will help bring you alive again, ladies and gentlemen. We're like a plant, and most of us are deficient in the right types of light. Now, I'm not saying that you should just go out again and bake all day, but your body needs sunlight. You need to go through your house and get rid of all the LEDs, all the CFLs. I prefer incandescents. I'm not saying that they're the best, but they're much better than what most people are using. I'm going to talk about orange lights for your house in the near future as well, and a handful of other lighting upgrades. Ladies and gentlemen, the light is being used to take us out of our natural circadian rhythms with the earth. And we are designed to be in symbiosis with the earth. Now, I'm talking about artificial light. It takes us out of our circadian rhythm because it affects our melatonin. We're exposed to the wrong the wrong color temperature and the wrong wavelengths of light at the wrong times with these devices. These devices carry blue light with it, which the sun does as well. That big flaming sun up there, the life giver. So when the sun goes down and we're surrounded by all these artificial lights, the blue light from those artificial lights goes into our brain, enters into our photoreceptors, stimulates a part of our brain known as our suprachiasmatic nucleus, and it tells our brain to be alert because that's what the wavelength of blue light does from the sun. And the blue light from your devices affects you in the same way. It goes into your eyes, it hits your skin, and it tells your brain to be alert. It tells your brain not to produce melatonin. So for over 10, 15, 20 years, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, all I'm getting at is that for a very long time, chances are your circadian rhythm has been way out of alignment and you've had your melatonin sequences completely bastardized because you never have actually followed a natural rhythm. When the sun goes down, the lights are supposed to be off. When the sun goes down, when there's an absence of light, we're supposed to get tired because in an absence of light, melatonin is produced, and that's a regulatory hormone that not only makes you sleepy and drowsy, but it's an antioxidant. It helps you heal. It helps bring you closer to the natural cycles of the earth. It's very important. We're supposed to be on a time clock with the natural lighting, ladies and gentlemen. And when we're outside of that, our circadian rhythm with the earth gets fucked up. And when that happens, we get separated from the Kundalini energy because the Kundalini energy is a byproduct of living in symbiosis with the earth. It is an earthly energy, folks. It's contained within you. It's contained within the earth. Excuse me. Evolution of the mind, evolution of the body has a lot to do with our circadian rhythms. I'm going to get into that in the near future. My phone's almost dead. Unfortunately, I wanted to go a lot longer, but the Kundalini, which is a motherly energy, nourishes us. It brings hope to the hopeless. It uplifts the weak. It uplifts the consciousness. It uplifts your body with health. It renourishes your chakras. It's like divine nectar, divine breast milk, and you are its baby. And it nourishes you. It brings you to the Christ energy through it rising up the cerebral spinal system, which is the stairway to heaven, the 33 vertebra. Once it gets to the brain, it gives you your crown. This is when you experience Christ consciousness. This is when you know Christ. What Christ actually is, folks. And when that happens, you are connected to the Father and you become the middle of the Holy Trinity. Father, Son, and child. Father, mother, and child. Mother, father, child, however you want to say it. I'm out here getting some sun, grounding myself to the earth, enjoying this chemtrail-free, beautiful California sky for once. California has become a disgusting wasteland for the system overlords to dump toxins on us. But it looks like it's getting better. Peace be with you all.
I wanted to personally thank you for watching my videos and contributing to the growth of my channel. I could not do this without you, and your interest in my content is truly what motivates me and fuels my passion for making these videos and spreading my message. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wanted to remind you that this channel is a free educational tool that is listener supported, and if you would like to donate to my channel and donate to my cause, help make my life a little bit easier and help keep the lights on around here, you can do so by checking out the links in the description box below. There's a handful of not only ways to donate to my channel, but I also have links to different websites and different videos of mine, as well as my Amazon store, where you can check out a plethora of different health-related products that I use and recommend. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your continued interest in my message, and until next time, peace be with you all.